Hello everyone, and welcome to a fascinating comparison test between variously priced brake pads. In this video we have 5 different sets of brake pads, all of which are for the front brakes of the same model vehicle, but which are made by different companies, and as you can imagine, sold at very different price tags. If you've ever purchased brake pads from your local parts store, you might see labels that indicate lower, middle, and upper tier brake pads. These are the first 3 pads we're testing, with the budget option costing less than $20, the mid-level costing less than $40, and the upper-level priced brake pad under $60. The other 2 pads to be compared are more expensive options, one from NRS Brakes, who is the sponsor of this video, as well as the original equipment brake pads from the vehicle manufacturer, to compare against the other options. However, without access to their test equipment and facility, each individual brake pad will undergo the exact same testing. First, a performance test that looks at the brake fade and friction coefficients of the brake pads. And our final procedure, noise testing, is completed with new pads as well. Starting off with performance testing, this is a standardized test, SAE J2522, and it includes a series of 15 test cycles ran sequentially. The test is used to determine the effectiveness of a brake pad's friction material with regards to pressure, temperature, and speed. The results show interesting differences between the pads. We're going to skip over the first 8 test cycles, as these involve the bedding process and brake cycles at speeds that get progressively faster. What's really interesting are sections 9 and 14, where we get into brake fade results, in this case for our budget brake pads under $20. You can think of this as a pretty aggressive stop, but not a panic stop. As the pad heats up, the frictional coefficient may decrease. Comparing this to mid-level, upper-level, NRS, and OE brake pads, we see quite a variance in how all of these brake pads react under high temperatures. The cheapest pad is the only one where the frictional coefficient drops below 0.2, though the upper-level pad gets close with a minimum at 0.23. Going back to our cheapest brake pad, this massive range means the driver will have to exert significantly more effort for the same amount of braking, and it won't feel intuitive because it changes at various temperatures. Looking at the NRS pads, the curve remains pretty level, and the range isn't large. If you were driving on a track, you'd notice a consistent, predictable response from these brake pads. By the time we get to the second fade test, section 14, our friction material has stabilized. We're running the same cycle as before, and you'll notice across the board there are major improvements. The NRS brakes showed the best initial results. I want to make something very clear. The performance testing broke down the glue because it was so hot. Now there was one final test all the pads went through, and this was entirely separate from all the previous tests. Brand new pads were used for noise testing, where brake pads underwent 1,430 separate braking applications, and the peak noise level is recorded for each braking application. A huge thanks to NRS Brakes for allowing us to use their facility to complete all of these tests. Their team put a ton of effort into getting this testing completed, and I'm thrilled I get to share this information with you all. It was truly a special experience getting to tour the facility and observe the equipment used for testing. If you're interested in getting galvanized brake pads for your car, you can check out their products at nrsbrakes.com. If you have any questions or comments, of course feel free to leave those below. Thanks for watching.